This is my Komodo X rig breakdown video. This camera is still kind of new and I know the price range is a little bit up there, so hopefully this video helps a few of you. There's lots to go over here because I do a lot of different things, from documentary work, content creation, short films, fashion films, all over the map. So there's different build outs that you need for different things. I'm just going to kind of go over a general thing. You see, we're already built out a little bit here. So I'm just going to start breaking things down and going over it instead of doing the reversal. So first off, let's do with this mic mount. I know small rig has this little piece that can go on there, but the mic isolation is not that great. So you see Condor Blue has a semi-compact mic mount. Again, I'm shooting a lot of like cowboy stuff, run and gun. So this thing is going to do the best isolation that you can get. Just goes on from NATO rail. This is a Condor Blue NATO rail part up here. This side grip, this is also Condor Blue. This is the run stop side grip. The reason I need something like that is because there's a lot of times when I'm shooting Western stuff, I'm having to climb up on top of chutes and just climb over fences and stuff. And so there's a lot of times where I need to hold on to the camera with one hand. So just doing that allowed me to get a better grip on this. Now let's go over my choice of monitor. I run the Small HD 702 Touch. I was going to get the red monitor, but I wanted to be able to use this with other cameras because I have the FX3, I have the S5 II, I have the 40. So I just want to be like have the options to use this, or if I want to use it as a wireless monitor. But right before we get into that, and I go more to that, let me show you guys my top grip. So once again, I didn't hack at this. Obviously it's painted. I'll go over that towards the end. I did put some deerskin lace on this. Why? Most of the stuff I shoot is outdoors, and if it's warm, your hand gets sweaty. This grip does have rubber. This is a clean one without all my stuff all over it. You see there is a rubber down here. So this deerskin just gives it some like extra sticky. Let me see if I can show you how this sounds. So again, when I'm sweating, my hand just kind of glues to this. This is the Condor Blue monitor mount. You see on the top handle here, there's a NATO mount. So you go directly on there, screw it on. Since this monitor is so expensive, I want to run a cage on this at all times, just because again, I'm shooting some hardcore stuff sometimes. So this has a NATO rail built in. Like I said, we just slide this in and it locks in there. A lot of monitor mounts, they slip. I like to run big NPF batteries. Is like this guy, and this weighs down your monitor a lot. Some of my previous one from other brands, they will always end up loosening and it would never stay tight. And when I'm running around, I'm chasing horses or cowboys or whatever, it'll always come loose. Well, this one, you set your tension by the side points, and then these screws right here lock in that tension point. I adjusted this like 3 months ago. It has not loosened at all. And a couple other things about this top handle real quick. You see, I have a NATO rail on the back of this. Once again, Condor Blue, they think of everything. You could tighten it up there, and now you have a NATO rail. But the reason I put this on the back of the handle is I could flip this handle. So if I'm using larger cinema lenses, those tend to be front heavy. You just want to center your gravity on the top panel there. And so you're able to get all that torque back out of there. So the Wi-Fi antennas that come with the Komodo, they're a bit finicky. So this is the stubby antenna that comes with it. And then this is the antenna that bends. I found out when you bend it, it kind of loses its connection, but when it's straight, it has a good connection. Well, this little guy here, I think this is called the lollipop. This basically gets the same reception that the bending one gets. You're able to bend it out of the way. From there, we have our V mounts. This is what's cool about the Komodo X is direct V mounts. No more having to use adapters and all that stuff. I use Anton Bauer for everything. They're just the most trusted batteries you can get, especially when it comes to the Komodo, because we all know that the SDI port can get fried. The power can get fried. Like, I don't want to say this is a delicate camera, but if you go on the Komodo X forum on Facebook, you'll see people have issues with this and that. I mean, that's going to happen with any camera. So I just rather go with like a industry standard V-mount battery just because it's tried and tested. So I use the 90s on here. If I'm not flying, I will use the 150s, especially when you're using the DJI transmission. This thing will last you most of your day. So obviously we have the cage here. I'm going to go over the cage a little bit. I kind of covered it in my main video, so I don't want to go too heavy on this, but let me just show you guys real quick what's so cool about the Condor Blue cage. When you go with these other cage manufacturers, when it comes to a camera like this that you know you're going to have teams touching it, you know it's going to be getting rigged out pretty intense, you don't want to cheapen out on any of this stuff. So Condor's Blue stuff is like one of the more robust cages that you can get. You can see we have little rubber grommets on here. Another cool thing is we have rod support. So you could directly mount a rod right on top of here. I chose the most obnoxious rod to show this with. When you're trying to run follow focus or anything like that, that. Like not having to figure out how to mount that just makes your life easier. I know on the original Komodo cage, some people had an issue with the NATO rails because they were seated in too close to the camera. Well, now they come off the camera a little bit. And so you could pretty much get any NATO device on there. This is the top handle, but you can see it slides straight on there. Obviously, I have the EF to RF Canon adapter on here because my Dolans are EF. I bought them used and they were EF mount, but usually the Mofage Poco is glued to this camera. This thing is a perfect match for the Komodo. We have a rear VND on here. This thing is just game changing and makes your life so much easier. The elephant in the room, the red Komodo X has very bad IR pollution. It does not block any of the IR. So the higher you go in your ND, the more IR you'll see in your blacks and your shadows. I asked them if this had any IR block on it. They said no, not that they know of, but I tested it and there's barely any. Even at its hardest ND, I barely saw any IR pollution in there. Granted, it depends what part of the world you're in and what time of day you're shooting. The IR could be worse or it could be better. If you're using hard NDs, these are Elements hard NDs. So you can see the outside of this is very shiny. So you guys can see there's a coating on one side of this ND. This basically reflects IR. So you want this in front of all your filters and it's going to bounce the IR back out of the camera. So none of the IR is going to get into it. This is a necessity when you're shooting with the red Komodo X. So if I'm doing screw on, I use the ND True Color VND. I don't know what the exact name is for it. You'll see there's this add-on filter here. And basically what this does is you just stack it on top. So once we stack this filter, you see we have a UV IR cut. This basically cuts all the IR out. So what's cool is this is the 1 to 5 ND. I can then stack on this filter. You want to make sure it's aligned. Now this is a 5 to 9. Just go on and stack this guy on there as well. And now we have a 1 to 5, a 5 to 9 with IR cut. Let's go to the last thing here. This is the Condor Blue new side loading base plate and it's height adjustable. So let me just show this off real quick, loosen it out. Camera comes right out. There's our full on camera, just alone, no base plate. Also real quick, if you guys haven't seen this Condor Blue multi-tool, this thing is next level. You see, we have all these bits in here. You have multiple points that you can put bits in. Something's like really on there. You could put it in that middle point and you have so much torque on your screws there. You see, we have multiple ones in here. We have a flat head right there. So you simply just take it out, put it in there. There you go. We have a bubble leveler too. So if you need to, get your horizon or anything like that, there's a magnet on the back, a belt clip, and also this makes for a good, if you have ADHD like me. Also, they'll be giving an option for you to do laser engraving soon. So that's going to be sick. You see, I got my name here and I got my little logo right there. Pretty cool of them to do that. Here's a traditional multi-tool. There's a lot of times when you're trying to really tighten a base plate or loosen a bolt and you're trying to do it with this guy, this keeps slipping like this, or you're trying to do it like this and this is slipping everywhere. This thing is just a game changer if you're anyone that's building out intense rigs like this. But anyways, back to our base plate here. Just gonna loosen these. From there, you see, we have all that height. So right now I don't need all that height, so I'm just gonna put it back to its lowest setting. And then the bottom is obviously a dovetail. So what's cool about this is I like putting Manfrottos underneath dovetails because this gives you another option when you're trying to balance your rig on a tripod. You have more flexibility on there. So side loading, I think everything should be side loading. It just makes life way easier. So this is the follow focus system that I've been using on the Komodo X. This is the small rig follow focus. It's cool if you get the dual motors because say if I'm using Lower Rangers and I want to control the focus and the zoom, I could put the other handle on here and just makes life easy. I know Kofi's going to be doing a rig breakdown video. So watch out for his. I'll put his channel down in the description. I think he's going to be doing a series of different type of build outs depending on what type of gig you're doing. So I'm personally excited to see that. Other than that, I got reviews coming up on this monitor. I got a review coming up on my Sackler Flowtech tripod, which we're filming right now. I still want to review the FX3, but I'm being very particular on how I do that because I just love this camera that I'm filming on right now. But yeah, until then, that's it. Peace.